you know, Juneteenth in our process of reclaiming aspects of our history all the time, right? We're always in this process of reclamation. I've been celebrating Juneteenth, and many of us across the nation have been celebrating Juneteenth. So that was going to happen. We were happy about it. Our festivals were already set. We weren't waiting on anybody. But I have also noticed that with the announcement of the holiday, more people have begun to, more Black people even have begun to do research. They're Googling, you know, what is Juneteenth? They're getting clarity, they're understanding the scope of our history. And thankfully, right? In order to have Juneteenth, you have to start off with the institution of slavery in America, which has not yet, still not yet received its right attention and its just due, right? And so I like the fact that people are exploring these histories now, and I do think it's definitely inspired by the reparations movement. It's inspired by the fact that we had a, you know, wannabe dictator in office. It's inspired by the January 6th insurrection. It's inspired by the Georgia Senate runoff. It's inspired by the death of George Floyd. It's inspired by Black Lives Matter. It's inspired by all of our movements culminating together to end police brutality, to end economic injustice. And so, you know, it's all coming together. And like Nkechi said, definitely when I particularly saw that the holiday was coming out of the Senate first and then supposed to trickle down to the House and then be announced, I said, oh no, they're up to something. They're up to something. What it means, honestly, is that let's snatch the holiday itself for all of our ancestors and for all of the work that we have done over the years. However, we need to, as a part of Juneteenth, do exactly what we're doing today and teach people and to stay vigilant because something is coming. And I believe that something is the filibuster of the Senate version of HR 40. They don't intend to pass that. They are going to try to block that at every level. And how do I know that? Because when HR 40 was coming out of the Judiciary Committee, the vote was 25-17, right? 17, no, all Republicans. So the fact that we're concerned about, you know, the Senate, it's so clear to me. So let's just stay vigilant. Also, how it relates to my work. I'm a public historian and I'm a storyteller, I'm an artist. How it also relates to my work is most of what I have done over the last, I don't know, 20 something years has been to make the Tulsa story public. So I cannot tell you how it feels to know that Tulsa and the Tulsa Massacre and Greenwood is rolling off of everybody's tongue at this point, right? As a result of the people that are in Tulsa, many of whom did not even hear about Tulsa when I went down in 1998, okay? So it is a result of a handful of people in Tulsa who held on to the story and decided to share the story. It's a result of the Tulsa Race Riot Commission in Oklahoma. It's a result of our first reparations lawsuit that I worked on with Charles Ogletree, with Johnny Cochran, with Adjoa Ayatura, with Michelle Roberts, Dennis Sweet, Randall Robinson. I mean, the list goes on. And it's a result of the State of the Black World Conference that occurred in 2011. And it's a result of my campaign, which was the All Eyes on Tulsa campaign, and spread throughout the Black Radical Congress and then across the internet. So there's so much, and it's amazing to see how popular culture has played a role. A lot of people still hadn't even heard of Tulsa until Watchmen came out, and Watchmen came out on HBO, and people thought that it was just dramatic viewing. You know, they did not know that it was a real thing. And then we have Lovecraft Country, right? And so I'm thankful. It's interesting, right? That of all the work that we have done, that a television show would in many ways trump what we were doing, but it's okay because that awareness led to us furthering the gap, closing the gap on the real issues. And so I support in full the lawsuit that is coming out of Greenwood Rising with Demario Solomon and that entire team. And I hope to actually be able to contribute in the future because being on the first reparations team has been interesting. And I'm sure that you all know that Charles Ogletree, has Alzheimer's. And so it's interesting because I'm one of the few voices now that can represent what we did in that work. And so I'm happy to be here. There's a number of other things that I do, like serving food, like being the creator of Black Politics Matter and offering political analysis. And also I work on public parks and signs. And so that gives me the opportunity to be creative in my work. And I appreciate that. So I do appreciate Juneteenth. I'm also cautiously optimistic, and I'm also vigilant about the Senate and the House. They need to do what needs to be done to make things right for African Americans in this country. Thank you.